Hello, fellow Movie Crusaders, and welcome to our latest episode. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today I'm going to be reviewing the latest film to drop on Hulu, Prey. Now, for people who don't know what Prey is, it's the new Predator movie. I know, they finally are doing a Predator movie without Predator in the title, this time calling it Prey. This is a movie that Brian and I have been really eagerly anticipating for a while now. Brian and myself are real big fans of the Predator franchise as well as the Alien franchise. Even though the movies themselves have not been quite so good lately, we always have been real fans of the Xenomorphs and the Predator characters, me more so towards the Predator characters in general. And with Prey, this is a movie that we heard that Prey was going to release on Hulu, and we were like, ooh, that doesn't sound good. Why aren't they releasing this in theaters? This is a movie that should be released on a big screen, not on a little screen. And it was something that we were generally worried about, but solid word of mouth coming out of the last couple of weeks of people who got to see Prey early definitely made us feel a little more excited. One of the reasons why I was more excited for Prey is also because of the director, Dan Trachtenberg. He directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a movie that I really enjoy, and I also think that John Goodman should have been nominated for a Best Supporting Actor nomination for that film. But Prey itself is one of those movies where at first, when you first see what the initial teaser trailer of it, you're like, oh, it's Predator against a bunch of Indians. Doesn't sound like that'd be a fair fight by any means, but as we get closer and closer to the release and we find a little bit more about the story, this was definitely something that really got me excited. We basically find out that this is the origin story of the Predator coming to Earth, and basically takes place about 300 years ago, or a little over. Yeah, I think it's like 1791, I think is what the time frame was for this. So more like, 230 some years ago. But it's the first time the Predator has gotten to Earth, and, so he doesn't know how the animals are and, humans and all that kind of stuff. So we're seeing a Predator that's a little more rougher around the edges, has the weapons that we all know from the previous films, but maybe they're not as perfected as they were in, the original Predator films. And we get some new weapons that we haven't quite seen yet that maybe just didn't work for the Predator after a while because he didn't use them in any other films prior. But the big thing is that he is going up against an Indian Comanche tribe in this film, led by Amber Midthunder, who plays Naru, and Dakota Beavers, who plays Tabi, or Tabi. This is an all Native American cast outside of the French people who do pop up in the film. You can also watch this with, I believe it's Comanche dubbed, so that way you can do the whole film without English. I know most people wouldn't do that. Brian actually preferred it that way because he thought it sounded weird that the Indian people all just spoke regular English, because it just made it seem like a bunch of Americans dressed up in Native American attire. I personally didn't care about that because I actually wanted to, hear what they were saying. But you can choose on Hulu which preference you would like to prefer. He preferred that way. I preferred the, English, words way. But nonetheless, Prey is definitely a more grounded film because obviously you're going more with Indians and like Army Corps and Marines and all that kind of stuff like we have in previous films past. But nonetheless, Prey actually works incredibly well. This is, to me, probably one of the better Predator films that we have seen. The one thing, to me, I think that keeps it from elevating up into, the top tier section, which I would put, the original Predator and probably Predators, which really gets knocked for no reason. I think that is a really great Predator film. But what keeps Prey from just being right outside those top two is a memorable cast. Amber Midthunder as Naru is great. I think she's a fantastic lead. Very Ellen Ripley vibes coming from her in this film. And I think she carries the film relatively well, much like Arnold did in the first Predator and even Danny Glover in Predator 2. Her brother, Tabi, played by Dakota Beavers, he's solid in his role for what he's doing. But the problem is that outside of those two roles, there is not really much characters that you can pinpoint one over the other or even have any general connection or emotional weight through any of them throughout the rest of the film. It's just, person 1, person 2, person 3. Oh, which one died? One of them died. Okay, cool. It's not like Predator where you had Carl Weathers, Jesse the Body Ventura, and all these other characters that were unique in their own way. So when you did lose them, you're like, oh, there goes Glasses guy, or oh, there goes this guy, which I know right now I'm not saying their names. But the great thing about Predator is that each character had a unique characteristic or a unique character point to them, that they felt like a full unit of people instead of just generic army guy 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas with this film, that is the one thing that really kind of keeps Prey from hitting the top echelon, is that the Native American Comanche tribe here is outside of the two, don't really do anything to elevate their characters outside of just generic fodder to the film. Same thing goes with in the middle of the film. Like I said, there's a bunch of Frenchmen in this, and much like Brian said in his little side review when we talked, is you have the Comanche Indians speaking English, but you can have Comanche dub, but the Frenchmen speak French throughout the entire film, and also the subtitles are in French, so you really can never tell what the French people are saying for the most part throughout the film. Now you can gauge what they're saying based off of their actions and what they're saying and stuff like that, but you really never actually get English subtitles for what the French say throughout the film. So why are the Native Americans speaking English? But nonetheless, what most people came to see this film for was the Predator. Is the Predator fun? Is the Predator's death scenes really cool? And the answer is yes. The Predator in this film this is probably, I think, the most we've ever seen a Predator in the movie. We see the Predator on its own hunting different animals because it doesn't know what a bear is or a wolf or a snake. So it hunts all these animals and, collects their skulls, kind of like all the Predators do. So we do get to see more of the Predator on its own, doing its own things until it stumbles across, this group of Comanches. And it's different, it's unique, and it was definitely something that I was actually really all about. Now, they do change the character design of the Predator's face in this, which I wasn't necessarily a fan of the new design. I do prefer the old classic Predator face logo, or not logo, but Predator face. But nonetheless, the Predator in this film, also way more, I wouldn't say clumsy, but definitely gets injured a lot more than any of the other Predators, but it is still a badass Predator. About the hour mark, you do get this great battle sequence with the Predator against a bunch of people, and you get some awesome, unique death scenes in this film. The death scenes are fantastic, and they're fun to watch, and when you do get to the inevitable third act showdown, it's also done incredibly well. And for me, Prey is a movie that definitely delivers on what it's supposed to be, and that is a Predator film of hunting your prey, because he's a predator, and it does it. It's just missing that memorable cast outside of the lead, to really elevate this into something that you're really going to enjoy or remember these people past the end credits, except for Amber Midthunder. So overall, Prey, if you're a fan of the Predator franchise and you want to see this new Predator film, this is definitely one worth checking out. It's one of the better Predator films out there. It's on Hulu, so pretty much anyone who's got a Hulu subscription can check it out. Do I think they should have released this in theaters? Absolutely. Would it make a ton of money? Maybe not, but August is a really weak month this year in terms of theatrical releases, so it actually probably would have made a solid box office if they would have released this in theaters instead of on Hulu. But for me, Prey is definitely a film worth checking out if you like these kinds of films. If you don't like these kinds of films, then you're probably not going to watch this anyway. But I'm going to give Prey an 82%. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go and hit that like, share, and subscribe button to the channel so you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos pop up on the Movie Crusaders. And of course, we have to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we've got... I just dropped a video of a review roundup where I'm reviewing 3 other streaming movies. Apple's Luck, Hulu's Not Okay, and Peacock's They Them. Also, we have the review for Bullet Train coming up here real quick, so be on the lookout for that review. And that's basically it for right now. We don't have any shows currently scheduled for the Movie Crusaders for the month of August. We're taking this month to kind of recharge our batteries, refocus, and figure out kind of what we want to do with the shows, on whether or not we're going to come back and do weekly stuff or just kind of come back and do special episodes whenever we feel like it. But nonetheless, if there's a movie that's coming out, I will watch it, I will review it, and we will have it here on the channel. So until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.